Welcome to Alternative Kitchen.
Hey bakers, my name is Lisa and welcome to Alternative Kitchen. Welcome to all my new subscribers and of course my returning subscribers. Thank you for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to be sharing two very sumptuous recipes, and I mean really sumptuous recipes. The first is chocolate cupcake and the second is cherry cupcakes. Now, the amazing part about baking these cupcakes is that we are going to be using an alternative method. That's why it's called Alternative Kitchen. Yeah, we're going way back to before ovens became very common and popular. We're going to be using the sand method and we're going to be using boiling water method to bake these cupcakes. So let's go.
Let's make this sumptuous chocolate and red cherry cake together. The best way to enjoy seamless baking is to ensure that all your ingredients are arranged beforehand. For this recipe, we're going to be using chocolate chunks, red cherries, 1 cup of melted butter, 4 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa, 6 tablespoons of warm milk, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half cup of sugar, and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Not forgetting our Liar's golden syrup, you need 3 tablespoons of that, 1 tablespoon of red color, 1 tablespoon of strawberry flavor, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla flavor. The binding agent for this particular recipe is buttermilk. We are substituting eggs for buttermilk. The first step when baking is to mix all your dry ingredients together in one bowl and all your wet ingredients in another. So into a clean bowl, I'm going to add our flour and I'm going to go next with our sugar. And after adding our sugar, I'm going to add our baking powder and baking soda. Now I'm going to mix all this together. Stir it vigorously until everything mixes together properly. Stirring this together would eliminate one side from being concentrated in baking powder or baking soda and the other part of the flour not being concentrated at all. Once that is done, because it's two recipes, I'm going to share the dry ingredients into two. So we have two separate bowls, one for the chocolate cupcakes and the other for the cherry cupcakes. Into my first bowl, I'm going to add the unsweetened cocoa powder and mix properly. Now, I prefer unsweetened cocoa powder to chocolate powder because this just gives the true taste of chocolate. Next, I'm going to add my warm milk. I'm sharing this into two and leaving the rest for my second recipe. Next, I'm going to add my melted butter. Remember, the butter should not be hot because you do not want your cake batter to clump together. It should just be at room temperature. And I'm going to mix this together. Next, you want to add 1 tablespoon of vanilla flavor. You see, we've already mixed our dry ingredients and now we're putting in our wet ingredients bit by bit. I'm going to add a little more butter. And finally, our binding agent, which is our buttermilk. I'm going to add half a cup of buttermilk. And then I'm going to mix all this together. I'm adding the buttermilk bit by bit, just like if you were baking with eggs, you add the egg bit by bit. If you don't get the measurement right for your buttermilk, your butter could be as thick as this. That's why you need enough buttermilk so that you can always add more. And now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Liar golden syrup, and I'm going to add our chocolate chunks before I add more buttermilk to the mix. I'm going to mix all this together, stir it together carefully. You don't want the chunks to break, and then that's it. More buttermilk, and we'll stir until you get the consistency of the batter. So this is the consistency you want to get. That's it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's all for our chocolate cupcakes. Now to begin our cherry cupcakes, into our dry ingredients, we're going to add our wet, which is our butter. And after adding all our butter, the rest of it, we're going to add our warm milk. Every single drop counts, so we're adding everything into it. And next we're going to add our flavor. Now I'm using strawberry flavor in place of cherry flavors because I could not find cherry flavor in the market. But if you live outside of Edo State and you can find cherry flavor, go ahead and substitute the strawberry flavor for cherry flavor. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of strawberry flavor or cherry flavor if you can find it in the market. And finally, 2 tablespoons of Liar golden syrup. If you cannot get Laya golden syrup to buy in the market, I'm going to do a subsequent video where I'll show you how to make Laya golden syrup, because syrup is just sugar and lemon that has gone to the university. And now we're going to mix all this together. Similarly, if you cannot get store-bought buttermilk, I would also do a subsequent video where I would show you how to make buttermilk at home by yourself with just 2 ingredients. Now we're going to mix all this together until we have it properly incorporated, and after that we're going to add the remaining buttermilk. We're just going to add a little of it and leave some. The reason why we always leave a little bit of buttermilk or eggs is because you do not want a situation where your cake batter is too thick and you do not have anything to loosen it up. Just keep stirring and mixing, and as you can see, we've almost gotten that perfect consistency. All we have to do once we get the consistency is throw in our red cherries. These red cherries have been chopped up. Believe me, cherries are super sweet and sticky, so make sure you wash your hands. Just stir it in gently because you don't want to crush your fruits. They've already been chopped up, so just stir it in carefully, and then we'll add 1 tablespoon of food coloring. There's something you should note about food coloring. Let me say this in pidgin English. Some color they catch past others. Some food coloring, regardless of heat, would maintain the same color, while others would change under heat. So make sure you're adding enough food coloring. It could be 1 tablespoon, it could be more. Just add enough so that when you put this batter into the oven or on fire, whatever method you want to use, your cakes would have this color. Once your food coloring is completely incorporated, we're done with the cherry batter. Once your batter is ready, go ahead and turn on your gas stove and heat up your sand. Using the 1/4 measuring cup, scoop some of your chocolate batter into your cupcake pans. I'm using this single cupcake pans because they are way better than the 6-in-1 or 12-in-1 cupcake pans for when you are using sand or boiling water method. So scoop it in until you get the right measurement. You don't want it to be too full, neither do you want it to be too small. So it's just somewhere in between. You're doing this while your sand is on fire heating up. The perfect sand to use is white sand or red sand, and make sure you use a newspaper to line it. But for the purpose of this video, I had to allow the sand show so that you could see exactly what I was doing. Now these are yummy chocolate cupcakes. The preheated sand is very hot now, so please ensure that you're using your oven mittens, and then place your cake into the pot carefully so that you don't burn your hand. And once you're done arranging it, shut the pot until the next 5 minutes. Keep it well sealed and on high heat. After 5 minutes, check on your cake. Use a skewer to do this check. If it's still wet, then you know that your cake is cooking very well. Cover this and leave for another 5 to 8 minutes on low heat. And as you can see, the cake is ready. Just take a look at this yummy goodness. As you can see, the chocolates are still whole inside the cake, regardless of the fact that it has been baked. And now for the boiling water method. Into a pot of water, 1-inch deep water, put your cupcakes. If you're doing it this way, then I'm sorry to announce that you are wrong. Why? Because the steam and the water would enter the cake. So what is the best method? The best way to do this is to get a pan and put your cupcakes in it. I want to add this final cupcake because I want to show you the effect of putting the cupcakes directly in boiling water. And now you're going to get your baking sheet. Tear out a piece that is wide enough to cover your pan. In place of baking sheets, you can use foil paper. Now, because the baking sheet cannot stay without support, I'm going to use 2 rubber bands to seal it. But if you're using foil paper, all you have to do is just fold the edges around the edge of the pan and you're good to go. The next step is to put your pan into a pot of boiling water. So carefully put your pan in, and I'm going to add the cupcake at this side. This is the one that is not covered. I'm just going to place it at the side and then we'll cover a pot. Leave this to cook for about 10 minutes and then check with your skewer. If it comes out clean, then you are good to go. If it doesn't, please leave it to cook for an extra 2 minutes. Turn off your gas and carefully with a thong bring out your pan carefully, and then bring out the cupcake on the side. Time for the big reveal. Now, this is what your cake should look like. This is the cake that was in the water directly. You see how broken and soggy it looks. It didn't maintain the color, but the one that was in the pan maintained its color. If you don't want the top of your cake to be flat like this, ensure you use a higher pan. That way, the cake would have room to rise. Just take a look at this goodness. You can see all the cherries are still intact. I promise you that you will enjoy every bite of this cake. And that is how you make chocolate cupcakes using sand and cherry cupcakes using boiling water method. And now the big moment. Time for taste test. Okay, so I have my mom here first to taste the cherry cupcakes.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, there you go. Honest opinions, okay?
This is yummy. This is beautiful. Testing time.
Did I try?
This is nice and beautiful.
Thank you. So you see the cherry in the middle, it's so beautiful. You can see the cherry right here, and with every bite you take, trust me, you will love it.
This is good, man.
And now for the moment of truth. Time to taste. So taste, test, take. Here you go. Fingers crossed. Yay! As you can see, the chocolate bits. So the chocolates are still whole inside, and when you eat it, it's full of yumminess in your mouth. And that, bakers, is how you make chocolate cupcakes using sand method and cherry flavored cupcakes using water method. Remember the pitfalls and the perfect way to do it, so do not make that mistake. Why don't you go ahead and try these recipes? I'll be waiting to see the result of your recipes. Do tag me in the comment section and I will see the pictures, or you can of course tag me on Instagram or even on Facebook. Until I come your way next time, my darling bakers, with another amazing recipe. Keep it locked on Alternative Kitchen. My name is Lisa and I'll see you on our next episode. Bye.